name is Louise and welcome to Adventures with Yarn. This is my knitting and crochet podcast where I also sometimes talk about stitching and anything else that I happen to be obsessed with that's usually connected to yarn and the such. Hi, I hope you guys are doing well. Like I said, my name is Louise. I live in the northwest area of the United States in the state of Oregon. I work as a nurse during the day, and in my free time I'm usually knitting and crocheting. This podcast is for entertainment purposes for those of you who also might be obsessed with those types of crafts and just can't get enough, and you want to come check out what I'm doing and what I'm working on, what I finished, what I've got going on, and also interact. You can always comment down below. If you are a subscriber, welcome back. If you are a new viewer, welcome. Feel free to hit the thumbs up button if you like what you see, and as always, be sure that you are subscribed to the channel, and that way you can be kept up to date with each new episode that I make. I try my best to put out weekly episodes each Monday, but I've had some personal stuff going on this last week. I'm gonna save that for the end of this episode. Also, towards the end, I'm going to be talking about the mac and cheese sock knit along that I have going on starting later this month. I think in about 2 weeks now. Yeah, so you don't want to miss it, so stay tuned. First of all, though, I've got a couple of things to show you guys. I have some finished objects, and I have something that I've crocheted. I have something that I'm knitting, in fact test knitting for the first time ever, which is really exciting. I also broke my yarn diet. I know. Some things are just, New Year's resolutions are meant to be broken, right? I mean, I've lasted this long. I tried my best. I did use the excuse of, buying yarn to be used for Christmas presents later on, and, rationalizing that to myself and to my husband. And, yeah, so I got the go-ahead. I'm still gonna try to use from my stash, and I think actually what I want to do is make another night shift shawl for someone for Christmas again this year. I think it was last Christmas I made it for someone. That is just a really great stash buster project, and so I definitely want to be using another one of those. You guys, I'm so excited. I didn't even have time to let my hair completely dry because I missed last week's episode. So I'm going to show you guys where to start. Where on earth to start? Well, let's start. So, as breaking my yarn diet, the first ball of yarn that broke my yarn diet, I did buy it with the intention of using it to work on a test knitting project that I was selected to do. So it is called Paper Roses, and I have balled it up already, unfortunately. So, my gosh, you guys, so pretty. Light pinks, dark pinks, a little bit of brown, some cream. This is from Biffsugar Yarn. I do love Biffsugar Yarn. This is a single ply, which is a little bit different than all the sock yarns that I've got from her in the past. So this is a single ply, which the pattern calls for. So the pattern, you guys, okay, are you ready for this? This is really pretty. This is what I have done so far on the Sweet Dahlia shawl by Birch and Lily, which is Amanda is her name. She has a YouTube podcast as well, which I very much enjoy. I would check it out if I were you. I do watch her podcast. And she also she makes these designs, which I highly, highly respect her for, because I feel like I can definitely make patterns from designs, but I mean, I can knit patterns that are already made. I cannot design patterns. I feel like that is like the next level. That is like next level creativity. And I realized I just held this up on the wrong end. This is the right end. So, Sweet Dahlia Shawl. And this yarn is the Paper Roses, which is the pink down here. And then we have Nebula, which is also Biffsugar Yarns in a single ply. I think that this pattern actually calls for a single ply yarn for whichever color you're going to use for the lace, and then like a sock yarn base. But I happen to have had 2 single plies, so I emailed her when I was selected and asked her if that was okay, and she said yeah. I just have to like keep track of how much I use, and I'll be doing that by like weighing my yarn after this pattern's finished, so we can see how much was used compared to how much the skein of yarn weighed in the first place. I love that I have all these stitch markers hanging off my needles in the lace area of this. I don't know if you can see all of these. It's easier to see that way. So basically she recommended like putting these stitch markers in between the repeats of the lace, and I typically don't use like a lot of stitch markers like all lined up like this, so it's really fun because now in a way I kind of feel like Birch and Lily. I remember finding her on Instagram because she makes super cute socks, and I noticed that there was like a line of these stitch markers on her sock, and I remember like actually commenting, and I guess she gets that a lot. I guess that people ask that a lot, like, why do you have all these stitch markers? But she is a responsible person, I think, and keeps track. So she puts like a stitch marker for how many, I think like every 5 or 10 rows or something, and so that she can keep track of her rows, which is very smart, very responsible thing to do. But yeah, so I don't usually do that, so now I've got all these stitch markers lined up. But as you can see, this lace pattern, super pretty. I mean, how pretty is that? This is going to be a triangular shawl, which like the night shift shawl. Very, very pretty. Originally these colors didn't look like I might have originally thought, but I really like how it's turning out, and I'm really excited. This is my first time getting to test knit, and I'm turning this in before June 7th, I believe. So you can watch her Ravelry page for the pattern to drop around that time and be for sale, and you can make this beautiful, beautiful shawl yourself. So you can see it's got, you know, garter stitch stripes down here, some lace. This lace is going to go on for another, I'm a repeat and a half in, and there's 3 repeats of this lace, so about like another double what amount of lace is here that will go on, and then it'll go back to striping, and then near the end there'll be another panel of lace. Super, super pretty. I'm really enjoying working on this. The Sweet Dahlia Shawl by Birch and Lily. Okay, I have also been continuing to knit on the socks that I'm making with the Handmade Sock Society. And so far I have a finished sock. I have 1 finished sock. This is the Samphire Sock by Helen Stewart of the Handmade Sock Society. How pretty is this, you guys? Look, more lace. Oh, more lace. I mean, like, I never really work with that much lace, and I have 2 projects to show you with lace. So the Samphire Sock, this yarn is Biffsugar Yarns again. Oh my goodness, lots of Biffsugar Yarns. I get obsessed, I do. What can I say? So this is called Selkie. It is a Merino Cashmere Nylon blend, Biffsugar Yarn sock yarn, and this pattern has just been lovely. Look at this texture back here. And then I have, you know, this sock blocker so that the lace panel is on the front of the sock, but you can kind of see the sides of it here. A nice repeating lace pattern. You can kind of get the hang of the rhythm of it. Very, very nice. I am hoping to make the second sock before my own sock knit along, so that's gonna give me some motivation to really get that second sock going, because we've got to get busy, we've got to cast on other socks. So, but there we have it, Samphire Sock. What else? Okay, so I want to show you a yarn acquisition that I got. Because like I said, I broke my yarn diet. Okay. And also in breaking my yarn diet, my husband and I spoke, and we decided to, you know, instead of doing these, you know, binges of buying yarn, instead I would try to work on moderation and maybe let myself have like a skein of yarn each month. And so I have been looking around on Etsy, looking at hand-dyed indie dyers, hand-dyed yarn, and I came across this shop on Etsy called Sheepy Fibers, and this is called Bubblegum Rainbow Sprinkles. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at how sweetly pink this is. I love pink. I really do. Hashtag sorry, not sorry. I know some people kind of despise or detest it, but I just love it. And look at this. So this is a sock yarn. I am also obsessed with socks. I mean, this podcast should, instead of being called Adventures with Yarn, it should just be called like Louise's Obsessions. I'm just obsessed with pink, obsessed with socks, pink socks. That's what we're gonna make. I'm gonna make some pink socks out of these bubblegum rainbow sprinkles, you guys, by Sheepy Fibers. Oh my gosh, like I was saying, so this is more of a work sock instead of like the luxury sock. So this is 75% merino, 25% nylon, so it is still nice and soft and squishy. It's just not, it doesn't have that extra little cashmere, but that's fine. That's fine. I am just in love with this. I mean, how fun. How much fun is that, you guys? So cool. So that is the yarn that I have acquired. What else? What shall we do next? Okay, so I did some crocheting lately, and what I crocheted with was yarn that I took off of my big old yarn ball. So you may have seen this yarn ball. It looked a little bit different before. I will talk some more about what this yarn ball represents, but basically I was having some medical health issues. I was found to have a very large ovarian cyst on my left ovary, and they told me the numbers, which was 18 centimeters in diameter, and perhaps foolishly, I decided to make a physical representation of a sphere with an 18 centimeter diameter, and it was huge. It is huge. Anyways, so and I told myself that I would the yarn that I used to make that representation, I would use on myself later after I got the cyst removed. I got the cyst removed last week. I'm at home recovering from surgery right now, and I decided, you know, it was time to use the yarn and start working down this yarn ball because that cyst is gone now. So, this is what the yarn ball looks like now. Right now, it looks like this. This is not 18 centimeters in diameter because it is one yarn ball less. But the next project that I make when I use this yarn ball will be a Noro hat for myself. I made 3 Noro hats for my 3 sisters last Christmas and had myself my own ball of Noro yarn, which is a little bit different. We each have a little bit different colors of the hats that I made. So the next project off of this yarn ball will be using this Noro, which is like a some kind of cotton blend. I remember the color is called Rhapsody. And I'll be making myself a Noro hat as well. But the yarn that I took off the top layer, I made into a shawl / scarf. This is a very summery color. Look at this. So this crocheted shawl scarf, I found the pattern. So this yarn, the yarn is Lion Brand in one of their cupcakes, and their you know, variegated yarn. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I chose this because I really liked the colors, how they fade onto themselves. And just, I thought, just so beachy, so summery. And as it turns out, here in Oregon, the beach is pretty chilly. It is pretty chilly to go out to the beach. So you could always use something to wrap yourself up in. You know, you can, so basically you can use this as a shawl, just kind of have it on you, or as I more often prefer, to wrap it on yourself, and you can use like a scarf, like a little bandana scarf going on there. This was so much fun to make. I do enjoy crocheting. I like to crochet. I prefer the finished product of things that are knit, but crocheting is definitely, I think I might have learned to crochet before I learned to knit, like right before I learned to knit. So I usually do both projects. I know a lot of people might do one or the other. I like to go in between, although lately I have been kind of obsessed with projects that are knitted because of the finished product and what those look like, and they're usually knitted. So anyways, this yarn I found in Joann Fabrics. I got it with some birthday money I had. It was like in a little cake. The pattern I got off of the Lion Brand website, and I can't think of what it's called. I think it's just called Big Cake in a Shawl or something. I will have labeled it so you can see exactly who the credit goes for. Anyways, that I definitely have been, you know, at home resting and watching so much Netflix, you guys. So much Netflix. But I'm very fortunate that it is this time of year, because I think that in other parts of the country, like, school is getting out, and I think like Netflix kind of like is rolling out like some summer stuff to like kick off the summer, because we had like, there's just been like a small barrage of new seasons and new shows, in which I have been just burning up. I've been burning through them, you guys. But crafting while I do so, which has been great relaxation. So yeah, I'm super excited to have made the first project off of the yarn ball that was the size of that cyst. Let's see here. Might as well talk about that now. I mean, that's pretty much all that there is to talk about. I think I've said it all. I've been relaxing at home, having had surgery. I have 2 more weeks until I go back to work. So lots of crafting to do while I just kind of take it easy. I am recovering well. I'm almost back to normal. I'm almost back like at 100%. I would say I'm more like at like 90%, 93%. I do get like right now I'm kind of getting like, oh, I'm getting a little tired. But I graduated off of the pain pills like days ago. And so now it's just some Tylenol, some ibuprofen, taking it easy, making sure that I'm not bending over, making sure that I'm not lifting more than 10 pounds. Fortunately, my dog is 5 pounds, so my husband Joshua, you know, sometimes will, what are you doing? I'm like, hey, he's only 5 pounds. I have 4 small incision sites on my tummy, and sometimes they hurt, but I would say my recovery is going really, really well, and I'm very excited to have had that ovarian cyst removed, and now I can move on and we can continue on our fertility journey. This may have been part of what was holding us back. So super exciting. I'm sure you'll hear more about that at some point. Okay, so I forgot to mention Stitch Mania. Oh my gosh, you guys. You may have heard me talk about my Stitch Mania plans last episode that I had. It's been real, you guys. So I tallied up that I could put together 19 cross-stitching projects that were either projects waiting for me to start or were in different levels of progression. I got a little app that lets you kind of like spin the wheel. I think it's called like Tiny Decisions. And every day I spin the wheel on that app, and especially while I'm here at home with recovery, I start my day with a little bit of stitching. And because I do like to stitch, but I you know, things come in phases and feelings, you know. I enjoy cross stitching, but my heart is really into the knitting right now. So what I do is I just start my day with a little bit of cross stitch, and usually I'll either, you know, set the time to be either the length of a movie, or what's been a good flow lately is like the length of a floss thread, which if you're familiar with cross stitching, usually each floss thread you you know, pull 2 strands out, usually work 2 strands at a time, and typically a thread has a total of 6 strands, so I'm using 3 lengths of that strand. All these little systems that I put in place for myself. But yeah, so basically I would love to show you all the progress I've made in Stitch Mania, except that it might get kind of tiresome seeing just a bunch of starts. Like a lot of them don't really like look like anything quite yet, just kind of like a little blob of color here and there. I do have a few tiny finishes, but I think later when Stitch Mania is done, I might try to put together like a montage of photos and put those together to show you guys. That might be more interesting. But so check out this bag. I have this bag here with a big old plushine hanging off of it. This bag is from Charming Charlie's, and it's probably meant to hold makeup and such, but this is just like a perfect bag to hold some small cross-stitching kits that I have. It says glitter is my favorite color, which is cute, but a lie, because actually my favorite color is pink, in case you hadn't figured that out. But in here I have the finishes, the Stitch Mania finishes I want to show you. They are both from More Plushine. They're both from this little plushine cross-stitch kit that my husband Joshua got me last Christmas. And this one I had almost finished. I just didn't have the little heart on top. So we got a little finish there. And a little finish here. So just some cute little blue sheen. I suppose I must have made this in a day. Yeah, I guess I did. A little bit more than a whole length of floss, but I thought, you know, I was so close to finishing it. It's so small. I was like, let's just do it. Let's just finish it. So those are the two little starts that I have for Stitch Mania. Okay, the very last thing to talk about is the mac and cheese sock knit along. This is the knit along that I'm going to be hosting. It is going to start on May 25th. I have here this adorable project bag. This is made by Poodle Knits, knits with a Z. She is one of the amazing Etsy makers that has donated to the prizes of the knit along. But this is not a donation. This, unfortunately, this bag is mine. I'm keeping it. But how cute is that? Look at the gnomes, lawn flamingos, lawn decorations, and this kind of green looks like, it looks a little, you know, worn, but that's just the design. And the inside, it's got this really nice little wrist cuff here. And the inside is also, it's hard to tell on camera, but it's like this grass kind of pattern. So this is holding the socks that I'm going to make for the mac and cheese sock knit along. We have the Madeline Tosh mac and cheese yarn. I mean, how glorious is this, you guys? Just so cheesy. Oh my gosh. And then, of course, I have the Nassau blue that I have balled up here that I will be using for cuffs, heels, and toes. And so that it kind of looks like this, like mac and cheese craft. It will look like craft mac and cheese. For this sock knit along, I'm so excited, you guys. I have several, I keep wanting to call them vendors, but I get out makers is, I think, more of a nicer term. I got several makers donating for prizes to give away to you guys. And then, I mean, it's going to be amazing. As the makers donate to me, I go ahead and make sure that I own some of their things too, because they all have like amazing stuff. So I showed you this project bag that I bought. One of the makers has an Etsy shop called A Little Awesome, and she makes super, super cute little foodie kind of like charms and earrings and necklaces. And so I wanted to show you guys these earrings that I'm wearing. These are tiny Nutellas. Can you believe that? Nutella earrings. Oh my gosh. I also bought like these little peanut butter and jelly earrings from her. I'll have to show you guys later. But I'm not going to show you yet the prizes that she donated, but they are mac and cheese related. So stay tuned. I know that I kept mentioning it, but the mac and cheese sock knit along rules are finally now on my Ravelry page. There is a page, there's a thread called announcements, and under announcements you will find the mac and cheese information and rules. And then there is an entry thread, which is not open yet. I will open it on May 25th when this knit along will start. And so basically what you'll do is if you're on Ravelry, find my page, Adventures with Yarn, and feel free to join the group. And then you can enter in by responding to the entry thread. And in that thread, you're going to talk about, you know, what socks you're going to make. So the whole purpose of this sock knit along is to just infect others with this sock obsession that I have. I know that a lot of knitters get intimidated by socks. excuse me, they get intimidated by socks, and they, you know, or they think they just can't, they think they're too hard. And I really, really want to show people that once you actually like look at the pattern, cast it on, just do it. It's not that hard. It's really, really not. I think probably the hardest thing is either using the double pointed needles, or if you have a small circular set of needles like I do, just kind of getting used to how small that is, and if you know, having your hands use that small of yarn. But I really, really hope you guys will join. I have loads of prizes lined up. It's going to go for about 2 months, so you'll have 2 months to make your socks. And these socks, and by the way, these socks, I chose the mac and cheese as the theme of the knit along, because the socks I'm gonna make are these gloriously cheesy mac and cheese color. But really, you can use any color yarn that you want. You can use any pattern that you want, any sock pattern. And someone asked me, you know, do vanilla socks count? And I think basically it's vanilla, meaning like without a pattern, like just making them plain, just plain Jane vanilla. That's fine. That is fine. Just make the socks with me. The sock knit along will culminate on July 25th, which is America's National Mac and Cheese Day. I've got the mac and cheese day, I've got the mac and cheese yarn, I've got mac and cheese prizes. Basically, I want to show you guys that knitting socks can be easy peasy mac and cheesy. I know, it's so cheesy. What else to say about it? Oh, also, whips are encouraged if you, as long as they are less 50% or less that are finished. So basically, if you have if you're knitting socks and you have one sock that you've knitted and you just can't bring yourself to make the other sock, you've got the second sock syndrome, join us, make that other sock. And in your entry thread, you know, just show the one sock. So this would be 50% of a pair of socks, and so you can't have more than one sock finished of the pair that you're going to make. But I highly, highly encourage you to get through that second sock syndrome, which I know can be crippling. I still have yet to open a second sock syndrome thread on the group, but it will happen. So yeah, I am still gathering. I still have prizes coming in through the mail. I'm gathering all my prizes, and then I will be showing them to you. I will have loads of giveaways. We're gonna have a giveaway for you know, one of the members of the Sock Knit Along that posts a finished object. We're gonna have giveaways for those who use a certain hashtag that I'm going to be using. Basically, the giveaways are going to go across all platforms. We're going to be having some here on YouTube, in the comments, and Ravelry, and Instagram. I think those are pretty much my platforms. So basically, yes, to enter in, go on Ravelry. I would say, I'm assuming most people that knit and crochet do use Ravelry, but if you really want to join this sock knit along and you don't use Ravelry, reach out to me. You can comment down below. You can also always email. I do believe that my email is adventureswithyarn@gmail.com. So, reach out to me, let me know. I'm so super stoked, you guys. I'm so excited about this. It's going to be loads of fun. But yeah, so basically, since I only have one pair of little 9-inch circular needles, I need to get going on this second sock before I cast on my mac and cheese socks. Alright, you guys, that is going to be it for this week. I hope you all are doing well. I'm super excited to see what kind of crafts you guys are working on. Let me know, comment below. If you like what you see, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and be sure that you are subscribed. Alright, you guys, take care. I wish you well, and I'll see you next time. Bye!